Peace. This is Wise for Wise Words Media. As you can hear it in my voice, second time in a month and a half that I'm sick. It's been a brutal summer for me, man. I usually don't get sick in the summer, but you roll with the punches, right? So in any event, we just saw Alexander Usyk versus Anthony Joshua in the rematch. And Alexander Usyk, congratulations to him. Much on his mind with the whole turmoil going on in the Ukraine. So to be able to come out from that situation, fly into a fight and be able to prepare in that nature and come out and execute the way that he did, you got to give the man major credit, man. Major credit to Alexander Usyk. Usyk, like I mentioned before, he's like and it's not just because they're fellow countrymen, but he is like a heavyweight Lomachenko. He moves around the ring just like a heavyweight Lomachenko. And what's the name? This time around, Anthony Joshua tried to implore more counterpunching, right? So the first time around, Usyk would go into his combination punching. He'll throw like 2 or 3, and he'll catch him with a good finisher to the combination, and you will see that Joshua would just gather himself, and then, he'll block and then regather himself. This time around, he had Hall of Fame trainer, the great Robert Garcia, in his corner. And you seen that a game plan was established. Because this time around, instead of Joshua just eating combinations or a mix of eating and blocking combinations and then regrouping, this time around you seen he would catch combinations and he would fire a counter to the body. He was working the body a lot this time around. He would fire, that was their plan, was to fire combinations to the body after Usyk would throw his multitude of punches. So it was good game planning, but I gotta revert back to the NBA, right? You got Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson is one of the greatest coaches in boxing history. In basketball history. A mastermind, right? As far as coaching is concerned. So Phil Jackson, according to Bulls players, right? Sometimes Phil Jackson would draw up a design for the game plan, and the game won't go according to script. So you have to go to plan B, right? Because they're beating us at our game. So plan B was simply give the ball to Michael Jordan. That was plan B. Give the ball to Michael Jordan and you see what happened. 6 championships. So that takes innate ability. Michael is being cordial and going with the game plan, but once the game plan doesn't work, Michael Jordan takes over. So in this fight, you seen there was no innate ability from Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua could not employ the innate ability of fighting his type of fight as a plan B, and that type of fight is aggression, coming forward, letting his hands go in combinations. And The only time you saw that he attempted that was in the 8th round. The 8th round by far is Anthony Joshua's best round in both fights. In all of 24 rounds, the 8th and the 9th, part of the 9th round was part of First Take, brought to you by. So Daddy's recording. Yeah, hit the punching bag. So, lost my thought. We're gonna keep it First Take and all that, you heard? But Anthony Joshua in the 8th and 9th round, that was the only times in these 24 rounds, he only had about 1 to 1.5 rounds of dominance, right? You could say he did good in several rounds, but I'm talking about Anthony Joshua type dominance that we saw early on in his career was only the 8th round of this second fight and part of the 9th round. But to Usyk's credit, Usyk was really getting into Joshua's head with the Little Mac. I call that punch the Little Mac. And it's called, and you know, my 80s, 90s heads and my historians that are younger. Y'all ever play Mike Tyson Punch Out? The original NES version? So Little Mac was always smaller than all his opposition. So he would jump up for his punch. So I call that the Little Mac, the up jab. Usyk being smaller than Anthony Joshua, he was throwing a lot of up jabs. And you saw it in the first couple rounds, them up jabs were coming in clean, rocking Joshua's head back, which established a certain tone in the fight that you saw was still in Joshua's head. Like, wow, we got a game plan, but still he's hitting me flush. So you can see that kind of started to mess with him. And there's evidence of that in the promo that he cut after the fight. You know, and hey, shout out to Anthony Joshua for having a business mind and understanding he lost the fight that may have either given him a second wind or may have stunted or pretty much ended his career. He lost that fight, but he kind of saved himself a little bit with that promo. He cut a WWF The Rock type promo at the end where, you know, he was bigging up Usyk and gaining some of Usyk's fans and his support. Very well played, very smart. He did that, and that may have saved him for some future big fights. Even though a man of his pedigree, even though he's lost a few huge fights, he right now can live off the name he established early in his career. And now you have a massive, massive fight. He has one more massive fight. And this fight for both men is a big one. They could finally do the Wilder versus Anthony Joshua fight. And that fight right there, Eddie Hearn ran away from that fight. He did not want Anthony Joshua to take that fight at all. They ran away from that fight, and you saw why. Because Deontay Wilder, what he holds in these two things right here, he holds atomic bombs in both hands. And if Deontay Wilder was to catch, because as we seen even as early as the fight with Vitaly Klitschko, Vladimir, when he caught, he was getting caught cleanly in the Klitschko fight. And for him to get caught cleanly in the Klitschko fight, they knew if Deontay Wilder catches Anthony Joshua clean with one of those punches, it's night-night. And Deontay Wilder said it best. He said, you have to be perfect for 36 minutes against me. I have to be perfect for 1 second. That sums up the Hall of Fame career of Deontay Wilder. Yes, I said that. The Hall of Fame career of Deontay Wilder. That sums it up. That man has nuclear weapons right here. And if Anthony Joshua, who gets hit a lot, because as he said in that promo he cut, he never grew up in the amateurs sparring and fighting and competing in tournaments at a young age. He picked up boxing late in his career, and that's why he doesn't have a lot of that innate ability to do what, Phil Jackson, Plan B, give the ball to Michael Jordan. He doesn't have that in him because he picked up boxing late. What he relies on is pure, natural ability, which is his height and his force, his strength. But when you got a slick fighter like Usyk in front of you, who has great footwork, great head movement, I always tell y'all, head movement is one of the most underrated aspects of boxing. A guy like that is going to cause tons of trouble, especially with the pedigree that Usyk has. That's going to cause tons of trouble for somebody that just relies on natural, innate potential. So, congratulations to Usyk. The next big fight for him will be to try to reel in that big fish. Try to get that Tyson Fury fight. I personally feel Usyk can beat Tyson Fury. Yes, I know old media wants to try to make him number 2 of all time, the second best heavyweight, or even try to surpass Muhammad Ali. But if he gets in the ring with a guy like Usyk, who unlike Deontay Wilder, can move his head, can box, can change levels, Tyson Fury's in a world of trouble. He's in a world of trouble. I said it here. Hoarse voice and all that, you heard? So, my name is Wise. I'm going to go back, boil up some tea, try to get healthy, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.